2025. In the stillness of the Red Sea, night erupted. A swarm of kamikaze drones surged toward their target, the USS Harry-powered supercarrier, the ultimate symbol of United States naval power. This was not just a military strike. America. A ruthless test aimed at the pride and overwhelming strength of the world's foremost superpower happened on that fateful night. And how did the United States respond when the test? Let's find out with Navy secrets. April 1st, under perfect weather conditions for a surprise attack, the early warning systems on the USS hit a group of small, fast-moving objects coming from Yemen. At first, they were thought to be seabirds or radar interference, but within the objects sped up and changed direction rapidly. They are Samad-3 and KSF-1 kamikaze drones. Alarm Phalanx CIWS defense system was immediately activated, firing the incoming threat. Some drones were destroyed to break through the outer defense. Flying just above the sea surface, it exploded close to the ship's hull, creating vessel shake. Even though the damage was not serious in terms of structure, the USS Harry S. Truman is one of the most powerful warships in the world. Carrying over 5,000 crew members and dozens of aircraft from a non-state armed group like the HOUTHs could get so close and cause a disturbance was shocking. It was a challenge to U.S. dominance in the Red Sea region, which is a key global shipping route. This unexpected event passed. Within 18 hours of the attack, Central Command and the Department of Defense, a counterattack was approved at 10 p.m. on April 2nd. It was a signal to the Houthis and other groups. Any sea lanes would be answered quickly and powerfully. In the skies, MQ-9 Reaper drones targets. From Navy destroyers operating offshore, launched. These missiles flew across the night sky and hit multiple warehouses and command centers in the Sada region and the outskirts of Sana'a. Meanwhile, fighter jets, specifically Hornets, took off from the Truman. Working haulers, which specialized in electronic warfare, they disrupted enemy radar systems, making it difficult to defend themselves. One of the most powerful elements of the operation was the use of B-1B Lancer bombers. These long-range aircraft were flown in from Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Loaded with precision-guided bombs, they struck and makeshift airstrips used to launch drones. Avoid civilian areas, and intelligence was double-checked before each strike. But the U.S. didn't only attack from the air. Below stayed hidden and fired additional Tomahawk missiles. These submarines are known for their stealth and accuracy. At the same time, P-8 Poseidon surveillance planes flew overhead, keeping it remain safe for international trade. With this drone infrastructure in northern Yemen was either destroyed or badly damaged. Key storage areas, communication wiped out. As a result, the group had to pause its UAV operations targeting the Red Sea. It was not just a military action, it was a message. It wanted to show that it would not tolerate threats to its naval forces or to freedom of navigation in international water, linking the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean via the Suez Canal trade routes. If groups like the Houthis, the impact could be felt across the global economy. However, despite the success of the operation, how could such simple and cheap drones bypass advanced defenses? How should large military threat in the future? As warfare changes, traditional military strength is no longer enough. With smaller, agile enemies using low-cost technology in smart ways. Drones in conflict zones has increased dramatically. From Ukraine, drones are changing how wars are fought. They can be launched to detect, and they are relatively cheap to produce. For groups like the Houthis, they offer a powerful without risking many fighters. The U.S. military knows this. That's why there were immediate discussions about upgrading ship systems and creating better counter-drone technologies. Experts designed with new types of laser or microwave weapons to shoot down drones faster and more effectively. In the end, the attack revealed a new reality of modern warfare. Large aircraft carriers and nuclear small drones and smart tactics can now make a big difference on the battlefield. Situation where the Houthis attacked the USS Harry S. Truman. Now, let's take a look at how it responded in defense. In the early hours, a swarm of hostile drones targeted the USS Harry S. Truman and its escort group. The U.S. Navy showed how layered defense teamwork could stop a serious threat before it caused damage. The defensive response began from the outer layer, where the Aegis combat systems in the world played a critical role. On board USS Gravely and USS Mason, radar systems immediately picked up the incoming drones from long range. These two surface-to-air missiles, designed for high altitude and long distance. The missiles quickly locked on and destroying high over the sea. The visible even from Truman's flight deck gave the first clear sign that the threat was being taken seriously and managed with skill. Able to get through the outer layer of defense. These using the sea surface to mask their radar signature. As they approached within a few layer of defense took over. The USS Harry ships activated their Phalanx close-in weapon systems, CIWS. These systems use radar-guided Gatling guns minute. The moment the drones entered range, the CIWS turrets tracked and engaged them. The first wave of close-range UAVs was shredded by a rain of bullets. The air around the ship echoed with a rapid burst of gunfire. The crew stayed calm and focused, knowing their lives depended on the system's accuracy, and their own drones still came dangerously close, slipping through the brief windows between missile and gun coverage. These threats were met with another layer of defense. The evolved Sea Sparrow missiles, ESS launch systems aboard the destroyers and the carrier itself. The ESSM, designed for fast and agile threats like UAV, hooked onto their targets with precision and eliminated them before they could close in further. One drone that seemed ready to impact the waterline was hundreds of meters from the ship, a narrow escape that could have ended very differently. Meanwhile, overhead, the U.S. Navy had electronic warfare. G Growler aircraft, already airborne for routine patrol. These aircraft are designed to disrupt enemy communications, radar. By using high-powered jamming equipment, the Growlers created confusion in the enemy. One drone, likely relying on satellite or remote pilot guidance, suddenly lost connection and spiralessly into the sea. The use of electronic warfare didn't just stop one UAV from receiving updates or adjusting their path toward the ship. In modern warfare, just as important as using bullets or missiles, of hard and soft defenses, the outcome of the attack was completely in favor of the U.S. Navy. No group, no injuries, no explosions on board, only scattered debris floating in the sea where drones had been destroyed, neutralized before reaching a dangerous range. This wasn't just a success of technology, but also a success of human training and teamwork. The sailors, pilots, and officers involved followed their training perfectly. Who first spotted the threat, to missile crews launching SM-2s, ready for close-range defense, and finally the Growler pilots disrupting enemy control. Every part of the defense chain worked smoothly, and this event reminded everyone why layered defense is so important in modern naval operations. Threats no longer come only from enemy ships or submarines. To cheap drone with an explosive warhead, launched from a truck, a beach, or even a fishing boat. Detect, and even harder to destroy if not stopped in time. In this case, the U.S. Navy proved that with the right mix of systems, long-range missiles, short-range guns, agile interceptors, and smart, complex, fast-moving threat like a drone swarm can be stopped cold. In interviews following the crew's fast reaction, one senior officer aboard the Truman said, "But today, they made all the difference. Everyone knew exactly what to do." These kinds of comments reflect the deep preparation behind the calm response. The U.S. Navy did this, from missile strikes to electronic jamming, so that even when real danger appears, the team reacts like clockwork. And that's April 1st. As threats can gain access to low-cost drone technology, events like this will likely. That is why the success of the USS Harry is more than just a single victory. It is a demonstration of how modern navies must adapt, layer their defenses and people to protect themselves. From the pilot in the sky, each piece matters. The defensive layer is really impressive. Now let's dive into the powerful counterattacks launched by the The moment the Houthi kamikaze drone struck near the USS Harry S. Truman on April 1st, that a firm response was not only necessary but unavoidable. Pentagon officials gathered in emergency meetings with U.S. Central Command to assess the attack. Intelligence units stole UAVs, many hidden in remote parts of northern Yemen, including the mountainous areas near Sada, and after verifying the targets and assessing the risks, was ordered. At 10 p.m. on April 2nd, began a well-coordinated, multi-layered strike designed not only to destroy the HOUTH's drone capability. Any threat to American forces and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea would be met with overwhelming force. Air assault from FA-18E Super Hornet fighters, launched directly from the deck of the USS. These jets carried long-range cruise missiles and anti-radar bombs, carefully chosen for their ability to strike centers with minimal collateral damage. Simultaneously, EA-18G Growler elected to jam enemy radar systems and disrupt communications, reducing the chances of retaliation and from surface-to-air missile threats. To ensure full situational awareness, E-2D Hawkeye early warning aircraft, providing real-time updates on air and surface movements. Off the Yemeni coast, guided missile destroyers like the USS Gravely and USS Mason launched Tomahawk cruise missiles, traveled deep into Houthi-controlled territory, targeting radar installations and underground bunkers used for storing weapons and operating command systems. Unique wasn't just its firepower, it was the integration of models. Over the past few months, U.S. finding ways to defeat drones without even firing a bullet. To this retaliation, the USS Gravely and USS Mason had electronic warfare tools to bring down drones in the Red Sea without using traditional weapons. Sailors AN/SLQ-32, commonly known as Slick-32, to detect, jam, and confuse signals at their control frequencies. One internal document from February 19, 2024, revealed how sailors aboard used non-kinetic weapon systems to intercept and neutralize multiple drones. These engagements, which didn't require any expensive ammunition and allowed them to remain in the battle zone longer without the need for resupply. Proof that warships could adapt to modern drone threats using advanced technology rather than just brute force. This doctrine of non-kinetic defense had already begun influencing how the entire surface navy thought about combat. Instead of responding to every threat with an explosive countermeasure, ships now had the option to use electronic noise disruption to disable enemy drones silently and efficiently. In some cases, these drones would simply crash into the sea, their guidance systems overwhelmed. The ship's signal exploitation equipment, SSEE, another key tool used by the destroyers, providers make quick decisions during these encounters. According to defense analysts, these developments not only but also provided the Navy with a sustainable way to handle the hundreds of this. During the April 2nd counterattack, this combination of traditional firepower proved highly effective. Were hit within the first 36 hours, including drone hangars, radar stations, and command bunkers. Particularly successful strike, a B-1B Lancer strategic bomber deployed from Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar released a underground facility believed to be the main UAV launch control center in Sada. The impact was immediate. Destruction of several hardened structures and intercepted communications indicated panic among Houthi commanders. Adding to the pressure, U.S., including a Virginia-class attack submarine, launched additional Tomahawks targeting key supply routes and weapons depots. Importantly, the United States was not acting alone. French and British naval forces in the region also participated in the operation, not by launching missiles, but through crucial support in intelligence. This cooperation demonstrated the strength of multinational naval alliances and underscored the importance during international waters. The operation showed that while the U.S. had the firepower to act decisively, it also valued and respects maritime environments. One of the most significant outcomes of this retaliatory strike was the total shutdown of Houthi UAV. Intelligence reports confirmed that, for days following the attack, no new drone launches were detected. Damage to infrastructure and the loss of equipment forced the rebels to halt, and while the Houthis would likely rebuild over time, the U.S. has its defenses and prepare for future challenges. Furthermore, the nation could not be ignored. The Houthis, despite being an asymmetric force, had managed advanced aircraft carriers in the world. The U.S. response, swift and devastating, restored the image of naval dominance of America's ability to project power whenever and wherever needed. Beyond the battlefield, lessons for the future of naval warfare. It highlighted the urgent need for navies to adapt by integrating non-kinetic solutions. It also proved the value of preparation and layered defense. The ability of the Truman's escort group to detect, intercept, and neutralize drone threats using multiple lines of defense, from long-range to short-range weapons like CIWS and ESSM, and finally to advanced electronic countermeasures of modern maritime security. Every crew member, from radar operators to pilots, played a critical role, and their coordination was the result of months, if not years, of rigorous training and real-world experience. In conclusion, the April 2nd counterattack was not only a tactical victory, but also a strategic turning point. How a well-coordinated, technology-driven, and internationally supported operation could dismantle a growing threat in one of the world's most violent. As the U.S. Navy continues to operate in unpredictable environments, the lessons from this encounter with HOUTHl forces will shape future doctrine programs. The U.S. Navy's counterattack was incredible weaponry, but what does this mean in terms of strategy and the mess? The strategic significance of the U.S. Navy's attack on the USS Harry S. Truman extends far beyond the battlefield. It serves not only clear and present danger, but also as a carefully calculated message to adversaries and allies alike. The Navy's decisive retaliation demonstrated that any attack on one of its aircraft carriers, the most powerful symbols of American military might, the world, attacking a U.S. carrier is tantamount to a declaration of war and will provoke a response so state or non-state can expect to survive it politically or military. Effect is crucial in a world where asymmetric threats are becoming increasingly common. Non-state actors like the Houthis have begun to rely on cheap but effective technologies such as drones. By dismantling the Houthi drone infrastructure in a matter of hours, the U.S. reasserted while its adversaries may innovate in guerrilla-style tactics. The U.S. military remains unmatched in coordination. But the implications go even deeper when we consider this narrow body of water, stretching between the Arabian Peninsula and northeastern Africa, is a vital artery in the globe. Trillions of dollars worth of goods, including oil, natural gas, and manufactured products, transit through this corridor via the. Any disruption in this region sends ripples across global markets, affecting security. Therefore, ensuring the safety and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea is not merely a regional concern, it is a global responsibility. The Navy's ability to neutralize the threat so effectively the national community. The U.S. will not tolerate actions that jeopardize routes. Moreover, it reinforces the credibility of long-standing maritime laws and norms that particularly. This action upholds not just American interests, but the shared economic interests of nations worldwide who rely on open. From a strategic communications perspective, the operation of the United States' position as the dominant maritime power in the world. It showcased the seamless intelligence, multinational cooperation, and tactical precision. So, it underlined the U.S. Navy's readiness to operate in hot. The successful use of both kinetic and non-kinetic warfare and multinational coordination proves that the U.S. Navy warfare, but is also highly adaptive to modern threats. Was planned and executed further, underlines the high level of discipline, training, and coordination that defines U.S. naval operations. Given systems were mobilized across air, sea, and cyber domains, involving multiple branches of the military and several allied. This high degree of interoperability highlights America's ability to lead complex coalitions and respond in a unified manner. Furthermore, the operation served as a real-time demonstration of military doctrine in action. While many nations may speak about rapid deployment, technological superiority, few can execute these concepts with the finesse and impact demonstrated by the U.S. In doing so, the U.S. did more than just neutralize a threat. Of its naval capabilities, from intelligence gathering and electronic jamming to precision bombing and this visibility serves as a powerful deterrent to other attacks. They are now fully aware that is not only forceful, but also meticulously planned and executed. At the same time, the operation helped allies and partners in the region. With growing instability in the Middle East and many regional actors look to the U.S. for leadership and protection. The swift and successful response that the U.S. remains deeply committed to maintaining order and stability in key strategic areas, partnerships, and lays the groundwork for deeper cooperation in intelligence sharing, joint exercises. In a broader context, this strengthens the U.S.-led security architecture that has underpinned regions around the world. In conclusion, the U.S. Navy was far more than a tactical military response. Strategic maneuver with layered implications. It deterred future threats by demonstrating overwhelming retaliatory capability, artery of global commerce, ensuring the free flow of goods and energy. Leading naval power, capable of rapid, coordinated, and technologically advanced military operations. And perhaps most importantly, it sent a clear and unambiguous message to both friends and foes. The United States will defend its interests and maintain the balance of power on the high seas with precision. Asymmetric threats, the U.S. Navy's swift and precise response to the Houthi drone attack served not only as a tactical victory statement. From robust multi-layered defense systems aboard the USS Harry S. to a well-coordinated multinational counterattack involving Tomahawk missiles, electronic warfare, the operation showcased the technological superiority, readiness, and global partnerships of the United States. Just a retaliation, it was a clear warning to potential adversaries. American naval power, especially near a carrier strike group, will be met with overwhelming force. The operation also reaffirmed the U.S. commitment to protecting freedom of navigation maritime corridors, the Red Sea. In doing so, it helped secure global trade routes and demonstrated the role of the U.S. Navy. As the nature of conflict evolves, the ability to adapt quickly, leverage cutting-edge technology, and act part of America's maritime strategy, sending a clear message to the world ready, capable, and unwavering in the defense of its interests and allies.